We all know caffeine. Some like it, many of us love it, and as students, we've been accustomed to having our favorite caffeinated beverages beside us as we study. But what do we really know about this seemingly innocent stimulant that has integrated itself into a lot of our lives? The Philippines was once the fourth largest exporter of coffee beans in Asia in 1886. Though the glory days may be over, we are projected to drink 3.78 kilograms of coffee every year by 2025. With so many of us drinking coffee, how will this affect our health in the long run? Is caffeine addiction real? Is there a correct amount of caffeine to be consumed every day? And what are the long-term effects of consuming caffeine daily? I'm Tatiana Austria, your host for today's episode of Lifeline, where we improve our lives by feeding our minds. Joining us today is Miss Patricia Gail Monjes, R&D, who graduated in the university last year. She's currently working as a therapeutic dietitian under Artemis Plus Express Incorporated at the Medical City, Ortigas. It is an honor to have you here, Miss Patricia. How are you po, ma'am?
Hi, I'm okay and I'm happy to be here back in the university and of course finally serving the community as a licensed professional.
I'm sure the Tamashan community is so proud of you. And how was it to study dietitian here in the university?
Well, it's quite challenging yet very exciting. So there's a lot about food and nutrition that it's very exciting to express and to teach people about it, especially those who are really mindful of their health and body. And of course, correcting the stereotypes about food and what we call fad diets, you know.
That just makes me a lot more excited for our topic today. And as someone with your expertise, we will surely learn something new about caffeine. And so, can I ask, what is caffeine?
Caffeine consumed blocks the adenosine receptors in our brain. So the adenosine there, it promotes sleepiness or sluggishness. Hence, with caffeine, it makes us feel alert and awake despite being tired all day. And caffeine is also a diuretic. That's why when we drink coffee, we go to the bathroom frequently.
Yeah. And now we're on the topic of the effects of caffeine. I'd like to ask more on what are both the positive and the negative effects of consuming it daily, diba? Every day. Every day. Some people really do take caffeine every day.
Yeah, caffeine, they have positive and negative effects, but both should be seen side by side, not just positive alone, negative alone. So, according to the National Nutrition Council, light to moderate caffeine intake can help improve energy levels, our mood, our focus, our concentration, and even our physical activity. While on the other hand, the negative effects consuming extreme amounts like high amounts of caffeine in a longer period of time, well, it can contribute to feeling of palpitations, frequent urinations, and it can also weaken our bones. So there's a nutrition perspective on there. So yeah, on extremes, as what I said, in terms of micronutrient deficiencies in the long run, caffeine can displace many vitamins and minerals. For example, since caffeine is a diuretic, vitamin C and B vitamins are what we call water-soluble vitamins. So since we go to the bathroom more frequently, instead of it being utilized and absorbed by the body, it will be flushed out. So our vitamin C is used for immunity and for wound healing, while B vitamins is needed to process or to metabolize our energy. Also, one of the negative effects of caffeine, like for example, what I told earlier is the weakening of the bones. It also displaces the absorption or interferes with the absorption of vitamin D and calcium, which is needed by the bones. So at extreme amounts, over a period of time, it will totally weaken our bones. So if we grow older, instead of it being stronger, it will weaken our bones. So we may not experience it right now, but over time, if we keep on drinking a lot of caffeine, that will happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Miss Pat, the elephant in the room is that
Yeah.
when we consume extreme amounts, syempre bad. But
Yes.
what would you say is the right, yung swak lang na amount
Swak
to
lang.
consume every day?
Yeah, according to the US FDA, or it is the most used references of many health websites or
Yes.
references too. So as US FDA, just go around or just not higher than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. Yeah.
So would that be one to go drink from our
For-
favorite coffee shop?
Yeah, 4 cups of brewed coffee or
Oh,
ten soda cans.
okay.
But I'm not saying that you should drink 10 cans a day of
Totoo.
soda. Yeah.
And now we're on the topic of 10 cans. Can I ask, is there a right time naman to consume caffeine?
Well, actually, I thought about this a long time because we are all different people. So I searched about it and I saw an article about on Crescent. So it's about coffee, caffeine, biological rhythms, and time. So according to them, the the right time to drink coffee or caffeinated drink is not there instantly after waking up. So it's around 1.5 hours to 2 hours after waking up. So
Oh,
some may be shocked, no?
I am.
Especially those who drink coffee first thing in the morning.
That's a routine for most Filipinos, I think.
Yes.
Diba, titimpla ng kape, and then if may pandesal, we would dip
Yes.
it inside, and now it's supposed to
Yeah.
be an hour later.
Yes,
pa po
because
pala.
there's a reason behind it. Well, according to the authors, we have what we call the cortisol or the stress hormone. It's also responsible for us to be focused and alert. So, 45 minutes after waking up, it's at its peak or high level. So, actually, caffeine is not really needed by the body at that time. So, drinking coffee at this time, it's useless.
Oh, okay.
So drinking coffee or caffeinated drink and having a high level of cortisol at this time, it can develop a higher tolerance, or it develops tolerance for a higher for over the period of time.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we covered the right amount, the right time. I'd like to ask, is there a right age, the ideal age to consume caffeine? I personally don't remember when the first time I drank coffee. Would you happen to remember the first time you drank coffee ba?
Well, I think mga teens na ako.
Teens na.
Yeah.
But is there really an ideal age to consume caffeine?
For children, 12 years old and below, there's no recommended amount. So
Okay.
dapat hindi talaga.
Okay.
No caffeine. But for adolescents, 12 years old and above, no more than 100 milligrams a day. Then can I pasok na din yung pregnant women?
Yes, of course,
Okay.
of course.
For those who are pregnant, no more than 200 milligrams a day. But some, they really eliminate the caffeine just to be safe for the baby. And of course, our senior citizens, they should really limit their caffeine intake kasi it would really have adverse effects for them.
But usually, right, it's the reverse kasi our senior citizens were the ones most likely to drink
Yeah.
coffee as soon as
With
they
their
wake up.
newspaper.
Totoo. And as a nutritionist and a dietitian,
Yeah.
what would you think about the students substituting sleep with caffeine just to cope with academics? I personally do that sometimes.
Well, I hope they don't continue the lifestyle, you know, because it may be helpful for this period of time to get things done, but we should really keep in mind over a period of time when we get when we get out of college, what would happen to you with all the caffeinated drinks with added sugar and all the cream and
You're
everything.
speaking straight to my soul right now.
Yeah, so for me, I would really just want to tell you that that rest or sleep is also important. There's no better substitute for sleep to make your things or to make your homeworks done, just to rest itself. Just remember that rest is also productive.
Yes.
Yeah, because sleep is also a part of our health. It may seem like it's just a small part of our health, and it's just like you're feeling, well, naramdaman ko rin to nung estudyante ako na parang pag natulog ako, parang it takes away the time of being productive.
Of
which is, yeah, of
studying, right?
studying, of all the things na kailangan ipasa, which is wrong. Yeah, which is wrong talaga. So, I really hope that the students would really stop the substitution
Of
of
course.
of sleep with caffeine, because in the long run, let's
It's
think
not
in the long run,
healthy.
it's not really healthy.
Mhm.
And marami na nagpapalpitate while studying, di ba?
I was about to ask you also a question. I'm pretty sure all of the students watching this would also like to know, since you studied as a nutritionist and a dietitian, would you say your batch or your students under your degree are healthier than the others? Because you would know a lot about consuming caffeine. And is there an inside joke ba na habang nag-aaral kayo, ay, let's limit our caffeine intake?
Well, there are times na like that.
Okay.
But at the same time, kapag hindi kami, like, kapag we're studying, then we forgot to drink or eat something, uy, na-hypo ka na, like hypoglycemia, bumababa na yung blood sugar mo, nahihilo ka na, like, well, that's the sign of parang kailangan mo ng energy. Mga ganun
Totoo.
lang. Na-hypo ka na, kumain ka na, ganun.
And how would you spot naman if someone's getting addicted to caffeine? Because some people would just usually just say na, oh, it's part of my daily routine, it's
Yeah.
perfectly normal, but I'm pretty sure there's also caffeine addiction here.
Well, caffeine addiction and addiction to any other things, well, we should not really say that we're addicted to it. Because for me, it's a sensitive topic.
Yes.
Yeah. So, caffeine addiction and to anything should be diagnosed professionally and assessed with the validated criteria. We should not base on just the symptoms or what one is experiencing.
And how can we spot if ever, we're with a person or our peers are getting addicted to caffeine?
Well, yeah, that's we just need really to get assessed first for
Assessed
the
by a
addiction.
professional,
So
yes.
for the professional, and I really think the better term if we're not diagnosed,
Of
but it
course.
is like dependent lang,
Caffeine dependent.
Yeah.
And how severe can you get, especially with after being dependent on caffeine? How severe would be the effects of withdrawal from it?
Well, withdrawal, it happens kasi when a person who drinks a large amount of caffeine or high amount of caffeine then stops eventually or drastically lessen their caffeine intake, well, their body will react to it kasi talaga.
Yes.
So the symptoms may be moderate or light to clinically significant. Like for example, being really irritable, unable to concentrate, extreme fatigue, like the opposite of wanting to be awake and alert. You'll really feel sluggish, or
You're
you will-
constantly fighting back,
Yeah,
right?
you're fighting back. You'll feel tired and everything in between. Yeah.
And Miss Pat, how would you combat this withdrawal? I'm pretty sure some of our viewers would also be a victim of being dependent on caffeine, and once they experience a withdrawal, how would you say that we should combat it?
Well, in terms of combating withdrawal, I think that if you would really want to lessen your caffeine intake, you would really have slow cut down or cut back slowly, small amounts.
Yes.
For example, you would have 5 coffee servings a day, then you can cut down into 4 na lang. So basta pababa siya ng pababa, not
Opo.
drastic. And of course, we should remember that it's all in moderation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all in moderation.
It's all in-
Anything
finding that
naman,
sweet
it's all
spot.
in moderation. Yeah. So, we've heard about it, like, you eat in moderation.
Yes.
So, it also applies to our caffeine intake. And I really hope that the students would apply that.
Okay, so for the viewers, let's listen to Miss Pat. I'd also like to ask, are there any illnesses that can be worsened by caffeine intake or being caffeine dependent rather?
Yeah. Caffeine, especially with the added ingredients. Right?
Yes.
When we buy at the coffee shops with a lot of syrup and cream and the whipped cream on top pa. Yeah, it
Extra
can,
sugar,
Yeah,
lahat
extra
na.
sugar. So those caffeinated drinks could worsen diabetes, hypertension, and of course the weakening of the bones, like what
Of
we
course.
said earlier. And conditions such as GERD and heartburn could also be worsened with caffeine. That's why people with these conditions, they would really avoid it.
Right. And is there any healthy alternative naman that can give the same energy boost the same way that caffeine can give us?
Well, in terms of drinks ba or can be in food in general?
I think both food and drinks.
Okay, so yes, there are healthy alternatives that can give us enough energy and energy boost. So it's all about eating a balanced diet.
We come back to that.
Balanced diet. We come back to the basics every time.
Moderation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not skipping meals. Because
Oh,
students
okay.
are prone to skipping meals, especially breakfast, right? Minsan, dinner din. Minsan, nagbi-midnight snack na lang. Ay, nakalimutan ko mag-dinner.
Straight to my soul again.
Ganon. So, let's just remember for us to have a sustained energy for the entire day, it's important for us to remember movaba, moderation, variety, and balance.
Wow.
So, we have moderation. It means what we talked about earlier. So, not much, or we can eat your oily,
not
sweet,
extremes
just not
lang.
extreme. So, we have a certain amount lang talaga.
Of
Just
course.
be mindful of what you drink, what you eat, and how much of you eat and drink.
Yes.
Then we also have balance. It's important that we have enough of our go, grow, and glow foods. We have heard this since elementary, right?
I
Yeah.
agree. We have heard this
Yeah.
since time immemorial, and we
Yes.
can still apply it today.
Yes, it's really part of our lives, especially as we grow older. Nagiging mas conscious tayo sa health natin. And of course, variety. Variety meaning on our plate, we talked about go, grow, and glow foods. We should have our vegetables, our fruits. Then we would have our carbohydrates like in the form of rice, bread, or pasta. We can have our protein in the form of tofu, lean meats. Lean meats, wala yung matataba na pork. Okay. Tapos, chicken and fish.
Okay.
Then you could also have healthy fats with that. So, na kinukook siya sa healthy fats. And we could have a variety. So, yung variety sa Movaba, no? We would really know that we are eating a variety of food if our plate is colorful. Kasi the
Oh.
color, it indicates different types of nutrients, phytochemicals. Whole foods, we're talking about the whole foods, not the colorful brands of
Not
fast
yung
food.
sweets and yung junk food.
Yes.
Avoid natin yung orange na chips.
Yes, like that.
And Miss Pat, personally as someone who drinks both tea and both coffee, and sometimes I prefer one over the other, I would like to clarify lang, is tea, which also has caffeine, better than coffee ba?
Okay, so you can drink both naman.
Okay.
But caffeine is caffeine. Kahit saan mo naman siya kainin or inumin, nagkakatalo lang siya sa kung ano yung iniinom mo siya with. So like say tea, milk tea,
Ah.
coffee frappuccino.
Oh, okay.
So the added ingredients, we really would worsen it. Well, the caffeine kasi, well, with tea, without the added ingredients per cup, it's 0 calories.
okay.
So, dagdagan mo ng different ingredients with the milk tea. So, nasa roughly 200 to 300 calories na siya agad with the pearls pa. Tapos, with the coffee naman, brewed coffee itself, it would range from 0 to 5 calories a cup. But with the added ingredients of the frappuccino, like for example, or the different the varieties of caffeinated drinks, it would really make it unhealthy.
Yes.
So just remember that we should stay in the amount of the recommended caffeine intake. Like, keep in mind yung 4 cups of brewed coffee a day na 400 milligrams na yun agad. What more if I drink this amount pa?
Agreed. And you mentioned earlier that brewed coffee has 0 to 5 calories po ba? Tama ba? And which one is better, brewed coffee or instant coffee? Considering the fact that instant coffee is the one that's most readily available in Filipino homes and households and in the grocery stores, not everyone has the capacity rin to actually brew coffee themselves.
Brewed coffee is less processed than instant coffee. So it has more antioxidants. It has more caffeine compared to instant coffee.
Yes.
But instant coffee, especially in the forms of 3-in-1s, diba? Or yung mga ready to drink. It has
Sachet na.
Yeah, the sachet. Hindi na natin nakakontrol yung amount of added sugar doon eh. Added sugar and milk. So for me as a dietitian, I would really recommend to drink muna the black ones, the black coffee or the brewed coffee. Then it would be altered or adjusted to the preference of the person, because not everyone is really would really enjoy the bitter taste of coffee
Of
alone,
course.
of
May
brewed
different
coffee
shades
alone.
depending on how much
Yes.
you add the extra ingredients.
Yes. So maybe you can have your teaspoon of sugar, a splash of milk, kahit na anong milk yan. Like for example, low fat yan, full fat, or soy. Yung iba nagsasoy pa na alternative, mga plant-based. So for me, brewed coffee would be really a healthier choice, since you would really be mindful of what you are putting in your cup of coffee.
Okay.
Instead of just instant coffee alone na pre-packed na siya, hindi mo na siya makakontrol. Di mo naman mababawasan yun.
Oo,
Unless
totoo.
half sachet.
Then the one for later naman. And we covered instant coffee, we covered brewed and tea. Now I'd like to ask, are energy drinks better in a way than coffee, or are they somehow just the same?
I would say that it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, because energy drinks, they're full of sugar actually.
Of course.
So it gives yun yung sugar rush. The sugar rush that we're experiencing from the energy drinks, because it's really full of the sugar and the added ingredients pa. So added ingredients, like for example, the additives yung sa color niya, yung sa flavor niya, which is not really good in the long period of time. And energy drinks, how to spot it, kung bakit puro sugar lang siya. Well, when you look at the label, the ingredients there, like water, carbonated water, sugar, and all the additives afterwards, it is actually written in order. Like the first thing or the first ingredient written has the most or the majority content of the energy drink.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know this part. I
Yes.
would just rely on the numbers. Kasi.
Yes. So number one is water, carbonated water. So it's mostly water. Then second is sugar. So that tells you the next highest ingredient
Sugar.
that the energy drink is having or giving you is the sugar.
Sugar.
So that gives you that it's really high in sugar. So the thing is, for energy drinks, after some time, like energetic ka na, after you drink that sugar-packed drink, it would eventually give you to a crash. A crash meaning you would feel more tired, more fatigue after the effect would wear off.
I also have experienced that myself. I just tried energy drinks. Just one bottle because all of my peers were drinking coffee. Syempre, mindset, maiba naman. And then I experienced the sugar crash. And to the viewers right now who have experienced sugar crash and do not know how to deal with it, how would you recommend we should deal with sugar crashes after experiencing energy drinks or coffee?
At first, I think you should really be mindful at reflect on it first. For me, like ilan ba yung nainom ko? Ano ba yung mga ininom ko?
How bad was it?
Ano ba dapat ang mga iniinom ko at kinakain ko?
Okay.
And at that point, I think that person would really know what to do next. So, I've mentioned earlier that eating whole foods on our plate and not skipping meals is a really, really, really big thing for us to keep sustained for the period of time. And that's how we can prevent the dependence on energy drink and caffeinated drink.
That's how we lead safer and
Yes.
healthier lives. Thank you so much, Miss Patricia. With so many products containing caffeine and coffee being one of the staple things on a household shelf, we must learn more about the stimulant. Again, thank you so much, Miss Patricia, for joining us today and for enlightening our audiences on the risk and the effects of caffeine.
Thank you very much.
We learned information today that can affect our daily lives. Caffeine is presented in many drinks, sodas, tea, energy drinks, and coffee. It is vital for us to know what exactly we're getting ourselves into when we drink even the tiniest amount. Always remember, let's drink responsibly. Once again, I'm Tatiana Austria, and this is Lifeline, where we improve our lives by feeding our minds.